The Porsche 911 Turbo S is the definitive everyday supercar, but the new Audi R8 V10 Plus is its biggest threat yet. The 911 is £7,000 more expensive, but the Audi is both more powerful and lighter. The R8 runs on Continental Sport Contact 6s, while the 911 uses Pirelli P0s.
These are the all-weather supercars, which is just as well because the weather is foul today. The rain, it's been quite light, it's been on and off all day. But the track just isn't drying out. This is as greasy as I've ever known it. And four-wheel drive or not, these cars are just skating around with almost zero grip. Yeah. It's going to be interesting setting the quick lap times later. Can someone else do that? But let's forget about the lap times for a moment and just have a bit of fun in this 911 Turbo S. How did these cars ever get a reputation for being dull and lifeless? It's just the most playful thing. That's a fourth gear corner. You can just back it in. It's a shame it's as greasy and as slippery as it is today, because this car behaves in exactly the same way in the dry. I had this car here on a lovely dry sunny day a couple of weeks ago, and it was just the most engaging, the most exciting thing. So the key to having fun in this car on track, absolutely the first thing that you have to do on the way into a corner is beat the understeer, and that's simple. You just roll into the corner on the brakes to keep the front end loaded up, keep the weight over the front axle, and then you just get the rear end of the car starting to move around, all the weight's out the back there, and you enter the corner in this lovely neutral balance. The moment you've got the car set up like that, front axle locked in, rear of the car starting to come around, and you have this massive soft-edged window of playfulness, of adjustability, where you can do as you please. You can either back it into a corner and slide it all the way through, or if you're being a bit neater, a bit tidier, you can just drive through the corner in this lovely neutral stance, and that's quick. That's really quick. The gearbox, 7-speed PDK, it's so quick, basically instant gear shifts, and the engine is just an absolute monster. 560 horsepower, 553 pounds-foot of torque, and it just thumps along. We've got good response and just a massive amount of performance. It's so quick. But this car, it's a 911 Turbo. You're supposed to know that it's turbocharged, so we do want that there. We do want the big rush of boosty acceleration. We don't necessarily want this car to disguise the fact that it's turbocharged. That's half the fun, isn't it? Feeling that boost build and thumping you down the circuit. So how does that R8 compare? Is it going to be as fun and as playful as this 911 Turbo S? And is it going to be as quick? That 911 has the most playful chassis balance. But there's one thing this car has that the Turbo definitely doesn't have, and that's a normally aspirated 9,000 RPM engine. What a monster of a V10 this is. So 610 horsepower, we're 50 horsepower up on that Turbo, but we've got a lot less torque. We've got 413 pound-foot of torque compared to 553 pound-foot. That's a big difference. But we are carrying less weight in this R8, 50 kilograms less. And the gearbox, the shifts are even quicker than the Porsches. How have they made them quicker than instant? Even before you finish pulling the paddle, the new gear is home. It's outrageously quick. So that Porsche had that big, playful window of adjustability, really soft-edged, really controllable. This car, it's a lot edgier. It's a much sharper edged car. And in these conditions, it's not so easy to play around with the balance, to slide it through and out of corners. The trick is to commit to the throttle. If you hesitate on the throttle, the car will snap. It becomes very grabby, very snatchy. But if you commit to the throttle, give it full power, the four-wheel drive system will shuffle the torque and then it will slide progressively. So let's see what it's like when we start driving a little more neatly, as though we're going for a lap time. The engine is still an absolute monster, but the chassis is so agile, it's so well balanced. There's less inherent understeer than that 911. It's nicely balanced in this lovely neutral state, not understeering, not oversteering. It's just quick, it's just locked down. It's fast, this car. It's going to be close between these two cars. Those turbos, we know they always set massively quick lap times, but this thing, I reckon it's going to have a good go at that turbo. It just feels so quick around the circuit. Let's dig out the timing gear, strap on a pair, and find out which one is faster.
With the R8 on the left and the Turbo S on the right, we're across the line. They brake at the same point in the very slippery braking zone. Both cars lean hard on their ABS systems. The 911 carries more speed in the apex of the hairpin, but the R8 gets a cleaner exit and it takes a lead of 0.2 of a second. Both cars' four-wheel drive systems find good traction away from the corner despite the wet conditions. The R8 brakes later for the chicane and it carries more speed into it. It now leads by 0.3. The Audi has a better front end in these conditions than the Porsche, which understeers heavily in the left-hander. Both cars have a spike of oversteer before turning in for the quick right. The R8 punches harder down the next straight. It hits 112 miles per hour compared to 110 miles per hour for the Porsche. Both cars have a clean run through the S-bend, but once again, the R8 has a better front axle. It now leads by 0.4. The 911 gets a better exit, but the R8 brakes later for the hairpin while still making the apex. The Audi leads by half a second, but at the super slippery exit it gets very sideways. The 911 finds more grip and it wipes out the R8's lead. By the braking point for the second chicane, there's nothing in it. Once again, the lighter, more powerful R8 punches harder down the next straight and it takes a slim lead. The Audi's grippier front end allows it to carry another 5 miles per hour through the quick left-hander than the Porsche. In the wet, the Turbo S just can't match the R8's corner speeds in these quick corners. The Audi now leads by 0.2. The R8 holds on to its lead through the final corner. It crosses the line in 1 minute 26.9 seconds, 0.2 ahead of the 911. In these low grip conditions, the R8 is quicker around the lap simply because it carries more speed into the quick corners. The circuit was so slippery though that these lap times don't really mean a great deal. If it was dry, the outcome could have been very different. On the day, the R8 was faster and its engine is unforgettable. But the Playful 911 Turbo S was even more fun. To watch more Deadly Rivals videos, click on the links, and remember to subscribe to the channel.